Kenya's media is powerful. Think of Jeff Koinange, Larry Madowo, Citizen TV, KTN, NTV, and any other outlet that is out there. Journalists are the watchdog of the society, and the media is the medium through which we exchange communication from the people to the government, and from the government back to the people. They are the ones who speak the truth to power and shine light on hidden darkness. But what happens when the very trusted to tell our stories become the story themselves? Today, we dive into shocking cases where Kenyan journalists have been accused of crimes so serious they shook the nation, from murder to fraud to international criminal trials. This here is the dark side of the newsroom. Let's start with this story, the Monica Kimani murder case story, the one that involved Joey Rungu and the journalist Jacque Maribe.
Murder of a businesswoman found dead at her rented apartment in Lumwera Gardens, Kilimani area this morning. The lady, identified as Monica Kimani, was chatting with her brother last night before she suddenly went silent. Worried of her whereabouts, the brother visited her house to ascertain her safety, only to find her body in a bathtub with the head chopped off. Her body has been taken to Chiromo.
It was in September 2018. News broke that Monica Kimani, a young businesswoman, had been found murdered in her Kilimani apartment. All eyes soon turned to Joseph Irungu, known popularly as Joey, and he wasn't just any man. He was the fiancé of celebrated TV journalist Jacque Maribe. The court prosecutors painted a chilling picture. Joey was accused of brutally killing Monica. Court hearings dragged on for years. Then in 2024, the verdict was delivered. Joey was found guilty of murder. The court said he had one intention that night: to kill. But Jacque Maribe, once the darling of screens, also faced the weight of suspicion. She was accused of giving false information, and for years, her career was overshadowed by the case. Finally, she was acquitted of murder, but the judge noted she should face charges for misleading the investigations. She denied knowing nothing about the murder, but Joey's bloody shirt was found in her apartment, and even a gun with live bullets was found under her bed. The murder case blurred the line between journalism and crime, leaving Kenyans asking, if a journalist can be part of such a scandal, who can we really trust? And that is how Jacque Maribe's career was destroyed. Though she got her freedom back, she lost her valuable sensation that kept her glued on the screen and that kept fans loving her all through. Our story now shifts from Nairobi to Hague. Let's talk about this guy, Walter Barasa, who was wanted by the ICC. Before you know his crime, it is important that you know who Walter Barasa was. He is a journalist from Kenya based in Eldoret, the Northern Rift region. Barasa has worked for a number of media outlets, including The Nation and The People's Daily, and has been involved in a lot of civil society, human rights, conflict-sensitive reporting, and peace building. So why exactly are we talking about him, and what crimes did he commit?
Tonight, Walter Barasa, a man wanted by the International Criminal Court, is enjoying 24-hour state security. The High Court directed his round-the-clock protection after his lawyer claimed that the Hague-based court was out to abduct him. KTN's Edith Kimani has more.
As he was used to reporting, this time his crime was not reporting, but trying to bribe witnesses in cases linked to Kenya's deadly 2007 post-election violence. The ICC claimed Barasa offered money to witnesses to withdraw their testimony, an act that could derail justice for hundreds who suffered. While some saw Barasa as a pawn in a political game, others argued that he had crossed the ultimate journalistic red line. Instead of protecting the truth, he was accused of trying to bury it. The ICC issued an arrest warrant for Walter Barasa, but the Kenyan court failed to present him to Hague due to unprocessed extradition laws.
A Kenyan journalist wanted by the International Criminal Court has failed to block an arrest warrant issued by the tribunal. The ICC said on October 2nd it had issued a warrant against Walter Barasa for trying to bribe witnesses to withdraw testimonies against Kenya's Deputy President William Ruto.
His case has not been heard yet, and it seems to be slowly fading away. And to this day, Barasa's case at ICC remains a dark chapter that shows even journalists can be entangled in global justice. Not all crimes involve bloodshed, some involve money and identity. In 2023, Joseph Mushano Kyalo, a Kenyan TV journalist, found himself in the dock. Police accused him of being caught with forged banknotes. Imagine, a man trusted to deliver news to the public, suddenly accused of printing fake money. He denied the charges, but the scandal raised questions about what happens when economic desperation pushes journalists to crime. At that time, he was working with Kayu TV and was arraigned at Milimani Law Courts. But lawyer Danstan Omari was at the defense, and he said that this was an attack by the police to the freedom of the media. He was released after he paid 50,000 Kenyan shillings as bond. This other one is the story of Esther Arunga, once a household name in Kenya. She was not just a TV and radio presenter, but also a trained lawyer. Later, she married Quincy Timberlake, and even herself she became Esther Timberlake Arunga, and together they relocated to Australia. It was there, in their new life abroad, that tragedy and crime would change everything. In Australia, Esther and Quincy started a family. They had children together, and for a time, it looked like they were building a fresh start. But on a dark day in June 2014, their lives took a devastating turn. Their 3-year-old son, Sinclair Timberlake, died at their home in Kalangur, a suburb north of Brisbane. At first, Esther and Quincy told the police that the boy had died after falling down the stairs, but that was not the case. An autopsy would reveal the shocking reality. Sinclair had suffered blunt force trauma to his abdomen, injuries that were inconsistent with a simple fall. The truth began to unravel, and the story that they told the police was an exposed lie. Later, she admitted that she had misled the authorities and confessed that she gave them the fall downstairs version to protect her husband. When she finally spoke out, she revealed a disturbing scene. According to her, she walked into the bathroom and found Quincy hitting their son in the stomach, then throwing him against the wall. Quincy, she said, believed the boy was possessed by demons, by devils, even by what he described as alien embryos. In his mind, the violence was an attempt to rid Sinclair of these supposed spirits. The law moved in quickly. Quincy Timberlake was charged with the murder of their son. Esther Arunga, on the other hand, was charged with being an accessory after the fact and with misleading the police. 5 years later, in July 2019, Esther Arunga stood in an Australian court. There, she pleaded guilty to the charges of being an accessory after the fact and of lying to investigators. The court sentenced her to 10 months in jail, but because of the extraordinary circumstances, she was immediately released on parole. The judge in the case considered her situation deeply. He noted that Esther Arunga had been in shock over her son's death and that she was grieving. He also pointed out that her cultural beliefs had influenced her decision to mislead the police.
Now, former television star Esther Arunga will not spend time in jail following her conviction for being an accessory after the fact in a manslaughter case of her 3-year-old son, Sinclair Timberlake. Now, Esther Arunga Timberlake, age 38, was handed a 10-month sentence by Justice Martin Ban of the Brisbane Supreme Court earlier today, but was immediately released on parole. Her conviction and sentence came after she admitted to having misled the police investigating the death of Sinclair by stating that her son fell down from the stairs leading to his death. Esther admitted to having lied to help her husband Quincy Timberlake escape punishment. She also told the court that she lied because she was afraid of the husband, that's Quincy Timberlake.
But after that, it was now known to everybody that Esther Arunga was in a cult, a woman whose life moved from the spotlight to Kenyan media to the darkness of a courtroom in Australia. It is a story of love, loss, belief, and devastating consequences of choices made in the moments of fear and shock. The story of Moses Dola is one that shook many Kenyans because it involved a young promising journalist whose career was cut short by a crime of passion. Dola, once a respected reporter who worked with the Nation Media Group, found himself on the wrong side of the law in May 2011 after the tragic death of his wife Wambui Kabiru, who was also a journalist. According to the court records, the two had frequent quarrels in their marriage, mostly fueled by financial struggles and domestic disagreements. On that fateful day, an argument turned violent inside Umoja Estate House in Nairobi. Wambui was later found dead, and a post-mortem revealed that she had suffered head injuries consistent with blunt force trauma. Dola, who was the last person seen with her, initially fled but later surrendered himself to the police. He was charged with murder, but during trial, he maintained that he did not intend to kill his wife. After years of hearing, the court reduced his charge from murder to manslaughter, ruling that there was no evidence of premeditation but that his actions directly led to his wife's death. In September 2018, Justice Roslyn Korir sentenced Moses Dola to 10 years in prison for manslaughter.
We began at the courts, and Moses Dola staged a passionate and emotional appeal for leniency after the court convicted him of manslaughter following the killing of his wife Wambui Kabiru. Kabiru, a former NTV journalist, was found dead at their home in Umoja Estate on the 1st of May in 2011. Raquel Mwigai has that report.
Emotions ran high among family members of the late Sarah Wambui Kabiru. To them, it was a sigh of relief after years of chasing justice mixed with shreds of grief that came from having to come face to face with the perpetrator. But for Moses Dola, the guilty verdict was a bitter pill to swallow. His freedom was going to be a thing of the past as the judge immediately cancelled his bail.
The accused, having been found guilty,
the conviction was meant to serve both as punishment and as a lesson against domestic violence, which continues to plague many Kenyan households. Then here comes Joshua Arap Sang's story. It is tied to one of Kenya's most dramatic political and legal chapters, the post-election violence of 2007-2008. Sang was a popular radio journalist at Kass FM, a Kalenjin language station, and his name came to prominence internationally when he became one of the suspects charged at the ICC in The Hague. After the disputed 2007 presidential election, Kenya descended into chaos. Ethnic clashes erupted across the country, leaving more than 1,100 people dead and hundreds of thousands displaced. The ICC later accused 6 prominent Kenyans, famously called the Ocampo 6, of crimes against humanity for allegedly playing roles in fueling the violence. Among them was Joshua Arap Sang, alongside big names like Uhuru Kenyatta, Kosgei, and William Ruto. The prosecution alleged that Sang used his radio platform to incite violence. He was accused of spreading inflammatory messages, broadcasting coded language, and allegedly mobilizing youth militias through his programs. Sang, however, consistently denied the allegations, insisting that he was just a journalist doing his job and that his words were twisted out of context. The trial in the ICC attracted global attention, but after years of proceedings filled with challenges such as witness withdrawals, allegations of witness interference, and lack of sufficient evidence, the ICC eventually terminated the case. And in 2016, the judges declared that there was not enough proof to convict Sang or his co-accused, Deputy President William Ruto. He was therefore acquitted of all charges. This has been the Truth Lab. If you enjoyed this story, you can give me a thumbs up, like the video, and subscribe. And also, wait here for my next videos.